There is nothing more dangerous than continuing to live in the shadow of old mistakes and failures while yearning for change. You set big goals, make detailed plans, and constantly dream of transformation. But if you still see yourself through the lens of the past, all those efforts are just like building a tower on untidy ground. It's all an illusion, never able to stand firm. I started SpaceX, Tesla, and many other projects, not because I thought they would be easy, but because I didn't let the past define me. Every failure, every setback was just a lesson, not the death of my dream. Those who looked at my past would find countless reasons to give up, but I never did. I only looked at today and tomorrow. Anyone can feel the pressure of the past. It's like a ghost that constantly follows, always trying to pull you back into old habits, negative thoughts, and unresolved failures. But if you allow those things to control you, you will never escape them. Instead of continuing to look for reasons to justify your failures, look at the present and ask yourself one simple question: what will I do to change? I've learned that successful people are not those who never fail, but those who know how to see failure as an inevitable part of the journey. When I started SpaceX, I faced a series of challenges. At times I wondered if I could keep going, but I didn't let those thoughts stop me. Instead, I redefined myself every day, focusing on specific actions rather than reasons to retreat. When you start your journey of change, what matters is not the big steps you will take, but how you redefine yourself. What you believe about yourself, what you envision for your future are the determining factors. If you still see yourself as impatient, quick to give up, or always influenced by your circumstances, no matter how determined you are, your subconscious will destroy those plans. I've had moments when I felt like I couldn't go on, but by not letting the past control me, I found a way to move forward. Change starts from within. That's why I never let past failures stop me. That's why I never let criticism or doubters hold me back. You may have weak moments, but that's when you need to be strongest. You can't change your future if you live in the past. I've learned that the past only has power over you if you allow it. Everyone has their own story. Stories of failures, wrong decisions, and times when they stumbled. But what matters is not what your old story is, but how you rewrite it. You hold the book of your life. Every day you can choose to write a new chapter, a new page. And every day you must ask yourself one simple question: what will I do today to get closer to my goal? Only by doing this can you truly change your life. Let go of the old self, the self that's surrounded by past failures and weaknesses. You must redefine yourself right now. Not after you succeed, but right now. Only when you see yourself in a new light can you act differently. Every time I start a new project, I face doubts, conflicting opinions, and even initial failures. But I never let those things control me. Instead of thinking about what's past, I focus on what I can do right now. It's never too late. You can completely change if you decide to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. Change begins with not accepting to live by standards lower than what you deserve. You need to reaffirm yourself, not in a moment of excitement, but in every small action, every choice you make daily. Big steps only come when you start with small, persistent, and consistent actions. Only in this way can you create lasting change. What you need to do is dare to face the truth, dare to admit that you can do it, and dare to step out of the shadow of the past. Only when you do this can you truly change your life. I've never allowed myself to stand still. Every day, I create new challenges for myself, setting bigger goals to push myself forward, and I never let past mistakes stop me. Think about this. No one can change their life without giving up old habits, outdated thinking, and beliefs that no longer serve them. You must have the courage to step out of your comfort zone to face change. Only then can you create major breakthroughs. Don't let the past define you. The past is just a part of the story, not the whole story. Let the future be what you aim for, and from there, everything will change. Decide that you will no longer live according to an old image. You deserve a stronger, more decisive, and more successful version of yourself. And it all starts with you, how you see yourself, and the actions you take right now. Change begins not from the outside, but from within you. All the plans, goals, or grand strategies you wish to achieve will never succeed if you don't start by redefining yourself. Because your actions, decisions, and even your thoughts stem from how you perceive yourself. If you continue to see yourself as inconsistent, easily discouraged, or simply someone influenced by circumstances, No matter what you do, your subconscious will always pull you back into old habits and old limits. This may be hard to recognize, but when you continue to act according to who you think you are, you will never escape the tug of war between dreams and reality. I've learned something extremely important throughout the process of building SpaceX and Tesla. To change the world, you must change yourself first. You are the one who must change. You cannot keep living in the past and expect a different future. To achieve great success, you must dare to imagine a different version of yourself, and most importantly, you must take immediate action to become that person. Redefining yourself is not an easy task. It requires you to dare to look at yourself, to face your weaknesses, your failures, and the fears you don't want to confront. This may make you uncomfortable, but it's the most important part of the transformation process. Only when you are willing to look at yourself again can you define who you want to become. And once you have outlined that new version of yourself, you must live as if you are that person right now. You must take action immediately, not wait until you achieve success before starting to change. If you want to be decisive, don't wait for a big opportunity to show your decisiveness. Start with the smallest decisions in everyday life. If you want to be someone who never gives up, maintain persistence even in the toughest situations. If you want to be someone who always keeps their promises, do that starting today, starting with the smallest commitments. Begin with small changes, but ensure consistency in your actions. Just like when I started Tesla, no one believed electric cars would become mainstream. People said it would never be accepted. But I didn't care about that criticism. I focused on what I could do right now to make the dream a reality. You must do the same. Don't let others, situations, or limits you think you have stop you. Do what you know is right and never give up. One important thing to remember is that redefining yourself is not a short-term process. It's not a decision you make once and then live by. Redefining yourself is a continuous process. It requires you to maintain consistency in every action, to continually adjust, respond, and move forward every day. Just like building a company, a product, or a team, you can't just stop when things seem okay. You must always improve and grow. Remember that change is not something that happens overnight. It's a continuous process that you must commit to and pursue every day. Once you've identified who you want to become, you must dare to live as them, starting today. Don't wait for everything to be perfect before you begin taking action. Act now, because every action you take, no matter how small, is a big step toward your new version. I've seen this in my own life. No one is born as Elon Musk. I had to learn, experiment, and recreate myself many times before achieving the successes I have today. I never allowed myself to be torn between past mistakes and future desires. Every day, I decide to act as the person I want to become. And that's how I achieved great accomplishments. You can do the same. To change, you not only need a big plan, but you need small actions every day to turn it into reality. Don't let laziness, doubt, or a lack of persistence stop you. You must dare to face fear, dare to give up old habits, and dare to act right now. Redefining yourself is not easy, but if you want to change your life, you have no choice but to begin. Decide today to let go of the old self and live as the person you want to become. All change starts with you, and no one can do that for you. Success is not something that comes from the outside. It's not the result of a lucky break or help from others. Success is something you create from within yourself. It starts with imagining who you are in the future, and from there, beginning to act like that person right now. When I started building Tesla and SpaceX, no one believed we would succeed. In fact, I wasn't even sure if everything would work out. But I had one thing that all the people who didn't believe in us didn't have. I had a clear vision of the future, of my successful version. I didn't just think about success as a vague concept. I imagined every detail of it, how the company would operate, what the products would be like, and what life would look like when I achieved what I wanted. It was an extremely clear and detailed imagining process, and that's why I didn't just work to achieve the goal. I acted every day as if I was already there. Visualizing success is how you create motivation for yourself. It's not just about grand dreams, but about specific steps you'll take. If you want to build a company like I did, don't just dream about it. Think about the smallest details of that company. What will you do every morning? What challenges will you face, and how will you overcome them? Imagine yourself there, solving problems, growing, and achieving the success you desire. It is these visualizations that will drive you forward. The details you imagine about success will become the blueprint for your actions. Think about the person you want to become in the future. You can't just say, I want to be successful. You need to visualize every step of that journey. Do you want to be more decisive? Imagine yourself working and making decisions every day without hesitation, without fear. Do you want to be someone who always keeps their promises? Imagine every morning you wake up and follow through on your commitments, never backing down. Do you want to be an influential person, someone who makes a difference? Visualize yourself working every day, making the changes you want, and each of your actions is a firm step toward your goal. When I started Tesla, I had a clear vision of the electric cars we would produce. I didn't just dream about the cars, I visualized every detail of them, from design, technology, to how they would change the automotive world. I imagined a strong team, ready to face major challenges. I envisioned a world where Tesla's electric cars would be used worldwide, replacing gas-powered cars, reducing pollution, and bringing a more sustainable future. These visualizations were the motivation that kept me going even when people said it was impossible. When you visualize success, you won't just see yourself achieving the goal, you'll see yourself going through every challenge, solving every problem, overcoming all obstacles. You'll feel like everything is progressing and you're getting closer to realizing your dreams. And that feeling will drive you to act. Nothing can make you give up if you've already visualized yourself achieving what you want. The important thing is to visualize yourself successful. You can't become the person you want if you don't know what you want. Draw the successful version of yourself clearly and in detail. Don't let anything dull you. Don't let doubt stop you from acting. Imagine yourself living the life you want, doing the things you've always dreamed of. Visualizing success is how you define your path. When I think about the companies I've built, I don't just see them as part of the future, I see them right now in every step I take. Every day I act as if I've already succeeded, and when you visualize yourself successful, you'll start acting like a successful person. You'll notice you start doing things you never dared to do before. You'll dare to make bold decisions, you'll dare to face your fears, and you'll dare to tackle challenges that would have stopped you in the past. Success is not a destination but an ongoing process. When you visualize yourself successful, you'll find that you never stop, never settle for what you've achieved. You'll always look forward, always seek opportunities to improve, and always be ready to learn. That's the essence of success. An unceasing journey. Imagine a future where you've accomplished everything you wanted. By doing this, you'll have the motivation to continue all the way to the finish line, never giving up, never quitting. Success is not something you feel when it's all completed. It's something you create in every action, every decision you make, every day, every hour. Visualizing success is the first step to turning your dream into reality. Change doesn't come from great decisions or breakthroughs. It starts with small actions, the daily choices you make, whether they are simple or insignificant. I've learned that every great success is built from the smallest things, and the key is to start. When I built Tesla, no one thought electric cars could replace gas-powered cars, but instead of waiting for the perfect time, I started with the first cars, those that many people thought couldn't be sold. Those cars became the foundation for Tesla's rise today. You cannot achieve big goals without small actions to lead the way. I didn't wait for everything to be perfect before starting. If I just stood there dreaming about success one day, I wouldn't have gotten anywhere. Success is the result of continuous action, doing one small thing every day toward the goal, even if it's just a simple step. You don't need to do everything immediately. You take small steps every day. You just need to focus on the most important things and start doing them. Think about the changes you want to make in your life. If you want to be more patient, don't just talk about it. Act as if you already have that patience. If you want to improve your health, don't just dream about it. Start with small actions like walking every day, eating a healthy meal, or getting enough sleep. These small actions may seem insignificant, but they're the first step toward change. Don't wait until you have everything to take big steps. Don't let yourself think you need to wait for ideal opportunities to begin. I built SpaceX from simple ideas. I didn't wait for the finances, didn't wait for everything to be perfect. I started with what I had, and that's why SpaceX succeeded. Things weren't always easy, but we didn't need a perfect plan from the beginning. What mattered was starting and doing each small step well. When you start with small actions, you'll realize they create a compounding effect. Simple, continuous actions will create sustainable power without requiring you to push yourself too hard. When I launched Tesla, every day I worked with my team to improve the smallest details of the car. Every wheel, every piece of technology, every meticulous improvement. All those actions gradually created a perfect car, and now Tesla has changed the automotive industry. If you want to achieve big goals, you must be able to focus on small actions and carry them out consistently. These steps will lead you to your destination, and you'll be surprised at what you can achieve. Never underestimate the power of small actions. They are the foundation bricks for building a bigger future. I never waited for all the perfect elements before starting. I knew that simply taking action, no matter how small, was enough to begin a journey. And when you take small actions every day, you'll create unstoppable momentum. That's why every day I work, not because I want to finish a big goal right away, but because I know that each small action will add up to a great result. You will never achieve big goals without starting with small actions. And when you carry out those small actions, you will feel motivated. You will feel you are getting closer to your goal. You will realize that what seemed like slow steps will create a huge momentum in the future. I never waited to have great successes overnight. I started with small but decisive steps, and when those steps became habits, they led me to bigger goals than I could ever imagine. Don't wait until you feel you have enough time, enough resources, or enough confidence. You will never have the confidence before you take action. Confidence comes from taking action and overcoming challenges. When I started SpaceX, I faced countless failures. Every time I failed, I learned and improved. It was a constant process, and those small continuous actions helped me reach my destination. You can do the same. Start taking action today. Don't wait until everything becomes perfect. Every small step, no matter how simple, is of great value. Take action now, and you'll see that those actions will help you achieve the big goals you dream of. Only action can truly change your life. Ideas, plans, and even the desire for success are necessary elements, but without action, they are just vague dreams. When I started SpaceX, no one believed in our chances of success. We didn't have enough money, we didn't have a big team, and we didn't even have enough experience in the aerospace industry. But I knew that without acting immediately, we would never have the chance to change the world. I faced a series of failures, but I never stopped. Failures weren't the end, they were lessons to move forward. Creating change is not something that can be done once and then forgotten. It's a continuous process, a series of ongoing actions. What you do every day, whether big or small, creates a lasting impact. Action, even the smallest, will always surpass plans that remain in your head. When I started Tesla, I didn't have any guarantees of success. No one believed in electric cars, and all the major competitors in the industry thought we wouldn't last long. But I didn't care about the criticism. I only knew that to create change, I had to act. I had to create a product that could change how the world thought about transportation. I didn't wait for everything to become ideal. I didn't wait for perfect conditions to act. I started with the first electric cars, with little money, no big team, but we made it. Action creates change, not sitting there waiting. You can't sit and dream, hoping everything will change by itself. The world never changes when you sit still and wait. You must get up, act, and make a difference. I learned that change doesn't come from one big event, but from thousands of small actions taken every day. Small steps gradually create a big impact. You can't change the world in one day, but every small action you take today contributes to changing the future. You need commitment and determination, because it's these actions that will shape your results in the future. When I built SpaceX, we faced consecutive failures. Rockets exploded, investments were nearly lost, but I didn't give up. Every time we failed, we stood up, learned, and improved. That is the process of creating change. Change doesn't always happen immediately, but every time you take action, you move one step closer to your goal. Action is the most powerful catalyst for change. You can have great plans, but if you don't act, everything remains just theory. Only when you start working can you measure results and adjust your plans. In every project I've been involved in, I've always set a clear goal, but I knew that to achieve that goal, I had to keep acting non-stop. The world doesn't change if you wait for the perfect moment. There is no ideal time. Opportunities only appear when you actively seek them and create them. So, when I started with Tesla, I had no guarantee of the future, but I knew that if I didn't act right now, Tesla would never be on the market. And now, Tesla is not just an electric car company. It's a symbol of innovation and creativity. People can say they want to change the world, but only those who act can make it happen. Do you want to be successful? Start acting right now. Don't let doubt or fear stop you. Only action brings results. You don't need everything to be perfect from the beginning. You just need to act, and over time, you'll get great results. I didn't start SpaceX or Tesla with all the perfect factors. I started with belief in my abilities and a commitment to take the first steps, and those steps led to the achievements I have today. If you don't act, you'll never know your potential. The only way to change is through action. Create change through action, not words or intentions. Start today, and you'll see that the small efforts of today will create big changes in the future. Change is a never-ending journey, but only when you start acting can you make a real difference. Redefining yourself is not an easy process, but it's the most important thing you need to do to achieve success. You can't move forward if you still let the past hold you back. Everyone has wounds, mistakes, and past failures. But if you can't let go of the past, you'll never be able to create a new future. I've faced countless failures in my career. Failures in my first projects, doubts from others, and even the financial shocks I had to endure. But I didn't let them define me. If I had let the past control me, I wouldn't have been able to continue on the path I was on. I have a very clear view on this. You cannot live in the past and expect a different future. The past is just part of the story, not the whole story. I'm not perfect. I've failed many times, but that's exactly why I understand that redefining myself is essential to success. If I had only looked at the failures behind me and didn't know how to shake them off, I wouldn't be able to see the opportunities ahead. This world is always changing. What you knew yesterday may no longer be true today. To adapt and continue moving forward, you must redefine yourself. And this process doesn't stop. It's an essential part of the growth journey. You cannot let old wounds, past mistakes, shape who you are. When I started SpaceX, no one believed I could succeed. No one believed a new company could send humans to Mars. But I didn't let the doubts from others affect me. I decided to redefine myself as someone who could do the impossible. And I didn't just think about it, I acted. The past can only have power over you if you allow it. You can choose to view yourself through the lens of past mistakes, but you can also choose to view yourself as the person of the future. I never allowed the past to pull me back, and I didn't let past failures define who I am. I am the one who decides my future, and so are you. To redefine yourself, you must look at the present. Focus on what you can do right now to move forward. Let every failure be a lesson. Let them be stepping stones to make you stronger, smarter, and more decisive. I don't allow anyone or anything to make me think I can't change the world. Instead of criticizing my past, I learn from it and use those lessons to grow. You must do the same. Don't let past mistakes form limits for you. Redefining yourself means daring to dream bigger, daring to change to achieve what has never been done before. Create a stronger version of yourself, one not bound by the limits you once placed on yourself. You don't have to be the person you were yesterday. You can be a completely new version. Think about what you want to achieve in the future and act as if you're already that person. When I built Tesla, I didn't just think about producing electric cars. I envisioned a world where electric cars were no longer an option but a necessity, and I acted according to what I had envisioned. I kept moving forward, despite the many who doubted me, but I didn't let those negative thoughts control me. Redefining yourself is deciding who you are, not letting the past or past failures define you. The past has no power over your future unless you allow it. If you can do that, you'll see that everything begins to change. I didn't let my past hold me back. I didn't let failure make me give up. Instead, I used them as valuable lessons to redefine who I was, so I could become the person I wanted to be. That's how I overcame many difficulties and continued to do what seemed impossible. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be someone who never makes mistakes. What matters is being willing to learn from mistakes, from failure, and from things that don't go as planned. Redefine yourself every day instead of letting the past control you. Only when you do that will you truly change and go further. Change is not an abstract concept. It's a specific process that happens through the actions you take every day. You can talk about wanting to change yourself, but if you don't act in accordance with the person you want to become, it's all just theory. When I built SpaceX and Tesla, I didn't just dream of great progress. I acted as if I was already that person. I didn't wait for everything to be perfect before starting. I acted right then. I acted like a founder of a space company, a founder of an electric car company, not someone waiting for an opportunity to appear. That's what sets apart those who just talk from those who truly create change. When you decide to become a new version of yourself, you can't just sit there and wait for change to come on its own. You must start acting immediately, and more importantly, your actions must align with who you want to become. If you want to be decisive, don't wait for a big decision to come your way before acting decisively. Start with small decisions every day. Those decisions will accumulate, and over time, you'll find yourself becoming more decisive. When I decided to build SpaceX, I didn't have all the necessary factors. I didn't have a big team, I didn't have enough funding, and I didn't have a guarantee of success. But I acted as if I was already someone who could make it happen. I worked tirelessly, embraced failure, and learned from my mistakes. And eventually, my actions created results that no one could have imagined. You must act like the person you want to become. If you want to be someone who always keeps their word, then when you say you will do something, you must act immediately. When I started Tesla, no one believed electric cars could replace gasoline-powered cars. But I kept acting because I believed that electric cars were not just the future of the automotive industry, but also something the world needed. I didn't just dream about it, I acted as if it was already a reality. Action is how you build confidence in yourself and your abilities. Every small action, whether a small decision in work or life, is a step closer to the person you want to become. Change doesn't come from talking a lot, but from action. A good plan is useless if you don't act on it. You can have all the great ideas in your head, but if you don't act, they will remain useless thoughts. When I started Tesla, I didn't know if we could make an electric car that people would accept, but I kept experimenting, I kept improving. And that's how change happens. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity to act. Act now, even if it's in small steps. Those steps will gradually build the future you want. If you want to be someone who can make bold decisions, you have to start with small decisions every day. If you want to be someone who never gives up, you must persevere even when faced with difficulties, even when you feel like everything is against you. Big change starts from small, consistent actions. You won't become the person you want if you just talk and don't act. These actions must align with the version of yourself you're building. If you want to build a company like I did, you can't just talk about it. You must act as if your company is already established. You must think and act like a leader, a founder of a company. When I founded SpaceX, I didn't think about the challenges. I thought about how I could act to solve them, and that's how I created SpaceX as it is today. Action is not easy, but if you act strategically with a clear goal in mind, you'll find that anything is possible. If I had stopped acting after the first failure in SpaceX, Tesla, and other projects, I wouldn't be here to share this story. But I didn't stop acting, and I never let failure make me quit. You may face difficulties, you may fail, but if you act in line with who you want to become, you will always move forward. You will gradually build a stronger and more resilient version of yourself. You must act with the confidence that you're heading in the right direction, even if the path isn't clear at first. Every step you take will lead you to your destination, as long as you don't stop, and that action will help you redefine yourself, helping you become the person you've always dreamed of. Old habits are not just repetitive actions each day. They are invisible burdens that hold you back from moving forward. You may not realize it, but these habits are limiting your ability to grow. To become a better version of yourself, you must let go of the habits that are hindering your progress. When I started building Tesla and SpaceX, I knew that I couldn't continue with old habits. Habits that didn't help me achieve my goals, habits that didn't foster creativity, and habits that caused procrastination had to be eliminated. You cannot hold on to things that no longer serve you and still expect to achieve something great. Old habits may be the reason you can't achieve your goals, no matter how big your dreams are. I've had to do this throughout my journey. When you persist at something for a long time, old habits gradually become ingrained in your subconscious and become part of your daily life. They may seem small, like staying up late, spending too much time on your phone, or procrastinating on important tasks, but in reality, they have a profound impact on your results. To make a big change, you must start by changing small habits. These habits don't appear naturally, they result from not being aware of them. You must begin to identify them, acknowledge they are barriers, and let them go. When I started SpaceX, I didn't have many resources. I didn't have a big team, I didn't have a huge budget, but I had one thing that helped me overcome the difficulty: the ability to let go of unnecessary old habits. Instead, I focused on doing new creative things, things no one had tried before. That's why I was able to build a space company from scratch. Old habits can include procrastination, fear of change, or even impatience. They never help you move forward. Successful people are not those who never fail, but those who can let go of old habits to learn from mistakes and keep moving forward. Old habits are like chains that bind you, making it impossible to act and grow freely. To change your life, you must let go of habits that no longer serve you. When I started building Tesla, I didn't fall into old habits. I focused on what I could do to progress and improve the product. I didn't stop at just creating a car. I wanted to create an electric car that everyone in the world would want to own. And I knew that to achieve that, I had to let go of lazy habits, outdated methods that no longer fit. To succeed, you must dare to change and let go of old habits. Don't think that simply persevering with those habits is enough. Perseverance is not repeating mistakes. It's persevering in doing the right things. Old habits are not always bad, but when they no longer help you move forward, you must know how to let them go. I had to let go of many habits when I started developing Tesla and SpaceX. I couldn't continue with a lazy approach. I couldn't keep procrastinating. I couldn't continue pursuing unclear goals. These habits may help you survive, but they will never help you achieve the big goals you dream of. Letting go of old habits is part of your personal evolution journey. You must dare to change yourself. Acknowledge that there are things that no longer serve you. You may find this difficult, but it's the only way to create a big change. Change cannot come if you keep clinging to ineffective habits. These habits have created comfort in your life, but that comfort is exactly what is hindering your development. When I started SpaceX, I had to work 18 hours a day. I couldn't let old habits pull me back. I had to work harder, be more creative, and dare to accept failure. If I had clung to old comfortable habits, I wouldn't have been able to build SpaceX or Tesla. You can't change your life if you don't let go of old habits that no longer fit your goals. You must let go of procrastination, indecisiveness, fear, and the comfort of old habits. When you let them go, you will be free to create new habits, habits that will help you get closer to your goals every day. And that's when you'll see that you've become the person you always wanted to be. Success does not come from a single breakthrough or a big decision. Success is built from daily habits, from the small but decisive actions you take each day. When I started Tesla and SpaceX, I didn't just think about the big breakthroughs I wanted to achieve. I focused on each small step, each detailed action in my daily work. These habits are not things you can overlook or do thoughtlessly. They must be done with focus and commitment. That's how I changed the automotive and space industries. There is no great change without the accumulation of daily actions. You can't just take one bold action and expect everything to change immediately. True success is built in the ordinary days, in the consistent actions you take every day. I didn't stop at just imagining the future I wanted to create. I started acting today to make a difference. These daily habits not only helped me maintain motivation, but also kept me on track, preventing difficulties or failures from steering me off course. When I founded SpaceX, I didn't just stop at creating rockets. I acted every day to improve the products, optimize processes, and find creative solutions to core problems. These habits included constantly reviewing and reassessing my work, always looking for ways to improve and never stopping to learn from each failure. My daily habit was to constantly ask myself the most important question: what can I do to get closer to this bigger goal? That's what you need to do, not just weekly or monthly, but every single day. The small but decisive steps you take every day will shape your future. To make a difference, you cannot overlook your daily habits. If you want to become a creative person, don't wait for a big project to show your creativity. Start with small ideas, experiment, and apply them to your daily work. When I worked with my team at Tesla, I didn't just give big directives. I focused on improving small details in the production process, optimizing each part of the car, and that created a big difference in the final product. Every success, big or small, starts from the daily habits you practice. You can't just hope for luck or opportunity. Success is the result of habits built over time. You need to have the habit of working hard, being persistent, and staying creative every day, never stopping or giving up. One of the important habits I always maintain is setting clear goals and always revisiting those goals every day. This not only helps me focus on the work, but also helps me stay consistent. Sometimes you'll face failures, sometimes you'll feel like you're not progressing, but it's the habit of persistence that will help you stay strong and continue fighting. You need to have a solid system of habits so you're not distracted by external factors. When I worked in a challenging and high-pressure environment, I realized that maintaining my work habits was extremely important. It helped me maintain productivity and creativity even when I felt exhausted or faced difficulties. Daily habits are what help me not only overcome challenges, but also turn them into opportunities for improvement and growth. One example from my journey is how I maintained the habit of always finding new solutions to problems that no textbook could answer. When I started SpaceX, many people said that sending people to space with reusable rockets was impossible. But I kept experimenting, I kept trying new ideas, and I always believed that if I maintained the habit of never giving up, I would find the path to success. And we did. You need to have the habit of making a difference every day, starting with the smallest things. Start by reassessing how you use your time, how you work, and how you communicate. These small changes may not immediately change your life, but they will create a solid foundation for you to build a better future. No change happens overnight, but if you create daily habits to make progress, success will eventually come. When I worked at Tesla and SpaceX, I never stopped learning. I made it a habit to learn every day, from engineers, industry experts, and from my own mistakes. This helped me improve and develop continually. This habit of learning helped me view the world from a different perspective and never stop improving products. Daily habits are not only the tools to create success, but also the factors that help you maintain stability and persistence throughout the long journey. These habits are the guiding stars that lead you in the right direction, not letting difficulties or failures discourage you. Work hard every day. Don't miss any opportunity to learn and grow. When you do this, you will make a difference not only for yourself, but for the world around you. Everything in life starts with a clear plan. You can't move forward if you don't know where you're going. An action plan is the decisive factor that helps you turn big ideas into specific steps to make them a reality. When I started SpaceX, I didn't just have a dream about sending people to Mars. I had a detailed, clear plan, from developing rocket technology to securing financing and building a creative team. Without a clear action plan, everything is just a distant dream. A plan not only helps you know what you need to do, but also helps you measure your progress. I didn't just set goals, I defined each specific step to achieve those goals. Only with a detailed plan can you clearly see what needs to be done and what challenges you will face on your journey. You can't succeed without a clear action plan, especially when you're aiming for big goals. When I founded Tesla, no one believed that electric cars could replace gas-powered ones. But I had a detailed plan to create electric cars with long-range, high production, and mass production capabilities. That plan was broken down into specific steps: research and development of battery technology, improving design, optimizing production processes, and expanding the market. There was no ambiguity, no room for uncertainty. I acted on each small step, each detail in the plan, and that's why Tesla succeeded. A clear plan helps you take control of the situation, helping you determine what needs to be done next. I always think of an action plan as a map guiding me from point A to point B, and if any obstacles arise, I know how to adjust to continue the journey. To create a clear action plan, you must start with the end goal. You need to know what you want, and more importantly, you need to determine why you want to achieve it. That's the starting point, the compass for every decision you make in the process. I never set a goal without a clear reason for it. When I started building SpaceX, my goal was not just to send people to space. I wanted to create a company that would not only achieve milestones in space, but also change the entire space industry. From that goal, I identified each small step I needed to take: building reusable rockets, reducing launch costs, developing new rocket engine technologies. Each step in that plan had a specific goal and was evaluated regularly. You need a clear plan because it helps you prioritize important tasks. You can't complete everything at once, but if you identify what needs to be done right now, you'll always move forward. When I founded Tesla, the first thing I did was create an electric car that could change how the world thought about cars. But I didn't stop there. I thought about how to mass produce them, how to reduce the cost so everyone could own one. My plan was divided into phases, from the Roadster model to the Model S, Model 3, and future cars. Each car was a step in the long-term plan. To implement an effective action plan, you need to focus on what you can control. The world may change, external factors may impact you, but you must focus on what you can control. I always focused on improving products, optimizing processes, and creating real value for customers. A plan without flexibility is a dead plan. You need to be ready to adjust, change, and adapt when necessary. I never clung to a plan if it no longer suited the current circumstances. Throughout the process of building Tesla and SpaceX, I had to change strategies and plans many times. But the important thing was that I always maintained the ultimate goal and continuously adjusted the plan until I achieved that goal. Whenever you implement a plan, you will face challenges. Things won't always go as you expect, but the important thing is that you don't give up. You don't abandon your plan. When I was building SpaceX, we had to face 3 consecutive failed launches. If I had given up right then, not only would SpaceX have failed, but the entire space industry would not have made the great progress we see today. A clear action plan is what helps you overcome any challenges. It shows you that no matter how tough things get, you still have a clear direction. And that's why I always emphasize the importance of having a clear action plan. A good plan doesn't just help you achieve your goals, it also helps you stay focused and prevents external factors from throwing you off course. So when you have a clear plan, you will always know what to do next. And that's the solid step that will lead you to success.